Well, today we're going to talk about design for everyday living. And it's a very loose, informal talk. There's not much structure to it, so just relax and enjoy it. I want to start by showing you the introduction to a TV series we made, and I'll explain why after you've seen it. We seem to have lost the sound. I don't know why. Well, we call this series Better by Design because we passionately believe that design is fundamentally about making things better. Better for people in their everyday lives, but better also for business and commerce. Actually, for about a week after this show, we were called the Men in Black of design, which was a lot better than the asterisk and obelisk of the design. Because as you can see, Seymour is quite a large guy. But design is about making things better, fundamentally. So I'll just tell you what I do a little bit. What we do in my office is design the things we use every day of our lives, from the mobile phone that keeps us in touch with friends, the toaster on which we prepare breakfast, the interior of luxury jets and helicopters, the latest in mobile phone charging technology, the hospital bed, which sometimes, unfortunately, we have to lie in, the weighing scales, which betray our ever-expanding waistline, the train, which takes us from city to city, even down to the little piece of packaging that dispenses mints quickly, the vacuum cleaner with which we clean our house, the cooker we prepare food on, the radio that we listen to in our kitchen, the vending machine which serves real cappuccino, the sound system that we listen to, the phone for older people with poor eyesight, the shower we stand under every morning, and here's an interesting one. I wonder if you can tell me what these are. She knows. Actually, these are sex toys for the Durex brand. And you can imagine that the research on this project was extremely interesting. To that most hated of appliances, the steam iron. So that's a little bit quick run through of the kind of stuff we do. So let's just pause for a second and think about this whole process of design. Design always starts with an idea. And I really like the Taoist metaphysical theory, which holds first in the absolute importance of this elusive thing, a good idea. And then that process continues with building belief behind an idea. It's no good just having an idea. You have to build belief within yourself as a designer about that idea. And you have to build belief with your client. And you have to build belief with consumers. And then the final part of that process is embodiment, actually getting real, doing it, materializing it, making it physical, making it real. Making it real can be two-dimensional if you're a graphic designer, three-dimensional if you're a product designer, but at some point you have to have an output. An idea without an embodiment is a waste of time. And there's a lot of designers out there these days who just have ideas but don't actually do anything. And what we call in my office, they're all fart and no shit. And there's a lot of hot air billowing around in the design industry. So let's just consider the importance of idea. I'm going to show you an idea. You can't read it, so I'll read it. It says, a kettle that you don't have to unplug to fill it or pour from it. Now, we now know this as the so-called cordless kettle, you know, the one where you don't have to unplug it. You just lift it off the base. Now, that idea actually can be summarized in that single sentence. It's easily captured. How you actually make that work, technically, there are many, many different ways of doing that. And anybody who's an engineer here could probably think of a few. That process of exploring how to make it work and understanding it in your own mind, seeing if it's feasible, if you think you can do it, that's the process of building belief behind the idea. And then for every one of those technical ways of doing it, there's an almost infinite number of ways that kettle could look. But here's the point. If I go out into the streets and I say, what is design to someone, they say design is out there. It's all about how things look, how they feel, the kind of materials we use, the color, the shape, the form, and so on. And they're right, it is out there. But for me, for most product designers, design is that three-stage process: idea, belief, and embodiment. And just to ram home the importance of this, the idea, I'm going to show you two ideas: a bad idea and a good idea. I'm going to show you the bad idea first, okay? You need to be over 50 years old to recognize this product. This was a little vehicle made by Sir Clive Sinclair in the 70s called the C5. It's a little electric vehicle. It's a bad idea because its inventor didn't adequately consider whether people would want to be seen in a product like this. Whether they would be seen dead in a product like this, because the chances are they would be, sitting alongside big articulated trucks. But here's the point. In terms of embodiment, this wasn't that bad at the time. Ergonomically, it was good. Performance was okay. Price was good. It was built for manufacture. Everything about it was right, except the idea was rubbish. So the product was a failure. On the other hand, here's a good idea: James Dyson's Cyclonic vacuum cleaner. That's an idea that can be summarized in a single sentence: a bagless vacuum cleaner. And there are lots of ways technically that can be done. Many competitors have done it. The point is, in terms of embodiment, I would argue this isn't that good. Do we want to see our rubbish rushing around at 100 miles an hour every time we use it? Are we happy the dust flies up in our face? And is the Star Wars backpack styling really what we want in our homes? But none of that matters, because the idea was a great idea. So idea is the most important thing. Where do we go next? Okay. So design is actually this three-stage process, and you could think of it in terms of what are we going to do, why do we want to do it, and then how are we going to do it? What, why, how? Most designers, most people think design is up here, the actual embodiment. But most of my life, most of the designers I know are working down here, helping companies to determine what it is they should make and why they should do it, establishing context for it. And to do that, we have to add one thing to this trilogy, and that's knowledge. Knowledge gives us the means to do the things that we can dream about. If I said to a child, design the car of the future, his imagination has absolutely no limits. So he draws a vehicle with 16 wheels, 3 stories, 4 engines, because he doesn't have the knowledge to know that it won't work. We need knowledge to make our ideas relevant. Building knowledge about what you're trying to do is absolutely critical. And to do that, we have to learn to look rather than see. Very interesting words. All of us see. Seeing is passive. Looking is active. Designers have to learn to look in a different way. To really, really learn to look at how people live. And in my office, we have a team of people called Foresight that's constantly scanning the horizon about what's happening. They're looking into society, into people's lives, how they live their lives, how they use things. They're looking at the imperatives of business and commerce, and they're looking into the kind of technology that can be brought to bear to find solutions. This process of scanning invariably gives you little insights, little pinpricks of light, little explosions in your brain that says, that could be interesting. That's a new direction. That's something we could think about. And clearly you need a wide palette of knowledge. And the reason that these companies come to us for this kind of work is they don't usually know what they want to do. Most companies come to a designer not completely clear about what it is they want.